Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions, episode number 170, as we continue the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, bracket number 3. Tonight, we will see Iron Wolf versus Still Austin. Here we go. Question that I'm seeking to answer is, given these two whiskeys 5 nights in a row, which whiskey would I prefer 3 out of those nights? All the whiskeys in this contest have been good, not a bad one yet, but I'm trying to find my favorite. If possible, I judge the bottles, the label, the marketing, talk about the history a little bit. I look at the color of the whiskey, I nose it, and I taste it. And I evaluate the taste, finish, and mouthfeel for the winner. In case of a tie, I look to price and availability. As part of the fun, I try to guess which whiskey is which because I have mixed these whiskeys up and I don't know which is which. Iron Wolf is going to be glass number 1 and Still Austin will be glass number 2. The numbers are on the bottom of the glasses. So let's look at Iron Wolf Straight Rye Whiskey first. And it says it's a 6-year rye. That's amazing. This is a Specs single barrel, and so only sold in Specs stores here in Texas. It's a craft distillery from the Hill Country let's see, where was this from? It's west of Austin. Southeast of Marble Falls. It's been open since 2014, and then they opened their doors in 2017, but the business started in 2014. Bob Camelone helped start their brand as a consultant. He's worked with such whiskey companies as Maker's Mark, and then here locally in Fort Worth, Silver Star Spirits. This whiskey is 90 proof, and like I said, it's a 6-year-old, which that's pretty old for a Texas whiskey, so that's kind of interesting. It was just released last year, June 2023. The website describes it as spicy and full-bodied. I'm not real sure what that means. Well-rounded, perhaps. This whiskey narrowly defeated Oak and Eden Rye and Rumba. There you go. In the first round of this third bracket. And its price is $52.62, and again, it's not sold anywhere but Specs. But the bourbon, the Iron Wolf bourbon, is sold throughout Texas and in all the major liquor stores. Still Austin, the artist, Straight Rye, comes from Austin, Texas, and they also started in 2014. Chris and Cleveland Seals, a father and son duo. They've made a huge splash in the whiskey world, outside of Texas even. So that their marketing plan, their distribution plan is significant. Their capacity, I've not been there, but it's pretty large because they're sold everywhere. This straight rye comes in at 99.6 and says it has a 100% Texas rye mash bill. The website says it's got a nose of honey, cherries, figs, cloves, and coffee, with a palate of chocolate, apricot, sandalwood, ginger, caramel, rye spice, nutmeg, cinnamon, molasses, and orange zest. $52.62 at Specs. Total Wine $49.99. Goody Goody $49.99. So its availability is pretty good, and the prices of these two are very similar. So let's compare the bottles and labels. Iron Wolf has got this metal plate here. It's a bold, in-your-face kind of a bottle. It's big, it's beefy. The wolf thing, apparently the founders and owners, they have a pet wolf, right? And so that's where they got the name. But that's just kind of an imposing, formidable bottle. The eyes looking at you there. That's interesting. Huh? That's, the bottle's kind of squared off a little bit down here at the bottom and then rounded up at the top. So a little bit of that rectangular shape going on there. Whereas Still Austin is a classic round bottle, tapered, narrow at the bottom, broader at the shoulders, long neck. The label is a local artist there in Austin hired by the distillery to do all their labels. And I gotta say, this is a classy thing, although it borders on the Keep Austin Weird theme. So there is that element to it. Previously, I mean, I like Still Austin bottles and labels. They're all very nice. Uh, but this Iron Wolf bottle, I'm going to give the bottle to the Wolf Man. I mean, that's just a scary, imposing bottle. So that's pretty beefy. So I'll stick with the Iron Wolf this time around. But let's talk about marketing a little bit. Again, Still Austin is everywhere, and they're outside the state. They've made a big splash. Okay, so I don't have numbers for their sales or anything, but Iron Wolf is a small craft distillery and limited distribution to specs, whereas Still Austin, so the bottle and the label, I'm going to go with Iron Wolf, but marketing, Still Austin's, I think they've got it down. So now let's look at the appearances. Again, I mixed these glasses up, and so visually, these are identical. I cannot tell a difference between these two. So, they both have got nice appearance. This is for a Texas whiskey, though. These aren't exceptionally dark. I mean, you start comparing these with Balcones or Tabacaro. Those are some dark whiskeys. So this is, it's a 3.5. It's not exceptionally dark. Some good Kentucky whiskeys will be this dark. So these, I think that both of them probably use some kind of climate control in their aging. So it's a tie as far as appearance goes. So let's go for the nose. Now there is a proof advantage with Still Austin at 99.6, whereas Iron Wolf is a 90. That's got a pleasant nose right there. A little bit of a sweet whiskey smell. Nothing bad. Just the tiniest bit of rye spice. No Texas funk, really. This one may have a little bit more rye spice. It's more subtle. I mean, more rye spice, but the overall nose is not as much as the first one. So higher in the rye spice, but lesser of a nose. Going off the nose, I really couldn't hazard a guess which is which. This may be, for me, trying to figure out which is which. That may be difficult this go around. But here we go. Let's go for the taste test, starting on the left. Again, Iron Wolf is number 1. Still Austin is number 2. I'm going to think, wow, getting some cherries on the tail end of that. I mean, right when I sipped it, I was getting some evergreen flavor, like a pine tree note or fir, something like that. And that's my previous experience with Still Austin. So that may be Still Austin. It's got an appropriate burn for that higher proof too. So, just very good. A little bit on the sweet side. A little bit of that pine needle flavor going on there, the rice spice, dark fruits maybe. That's very good. No Texas funk. Could not discern any Texas funk there. My guess is that's number 2 because that's got pine needles. And Still Austin. That's usually what I get with Still Austin. But I'm going to hold off. I'm going to taste the other one. Make sure. Got to cleanse my palate. Instead of Topo Chico today, I've got Tehuacan. There you go. I'm having trouble. I got my camera all messed up tonight. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not sure what I'm doing with the camera situation today. All right, let's go to the second glass. And this one I had a little bit more rice spice, but less overall nose. Good luck with me figuring out which is which. These are very similar. I'm going to say that one's got less of a burn. I'm still getting pine needles. And, you know, the overall sweetness is there, but no Texas funk. I mean, neither of these is known for Texas funk. But I'm thinking that that's going to be Iron Wolf because it had less burn. Still has a rich mouthfeel. And so, you know, when the website said full-bodied, I get that. You know, it does have good mouthfeel. And at 6 years, it should, if this is Iron Wolf. Yeah, the rice spice, a little bit of a pine note. I'm going to say the pine note's not as pronounced with this one as it was in the first one. Both of these are good all day long. This one's got a long finish with the pine flavor, the rice spice, but it does not have as much of a burn as the first one. Now, I like the burn. There are some people who don't like the burn. They want a smooth whiskey that doesn't hurt them or something like that. For me, the burn is an advantage. So here's where the proof advantage might be the deciding factor, because these are both very similar. Neither one has the Texas funk. I'm getting pine needles off of both. Both have a good mouthfeel. The one on the left actually was more fun to drink. It's got that little bit more of a burn. So I'm going to guess that this one is number 2. Yeah, I'm just having all kinds of trouble with the camera tonight. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. So I'm thinking this is number 2 and Still Austin, and this is number 1, Iron Wolf. And between these two, I'm going to choose the one on the left. Yeah, I'll stick with the one on the left, although this is so close. All right, time for the reveal. Number 2, Still Austin wins. Number 1, Iron Wolf. Gave them a run for their money. I'll tell you, that was very close. I think proof made the difference there. So Still Austin is our winner tonight. It advances in the tournament. There's the winner. Still Austin, the artist. And I got to tell you, I was rooting for Iron Wolf, but That's a 9-point proof advantage, almost 10. So that's hard to overcome. All right, next week, or whenever I get to it, Cotton Hollow versus Balcones 100. And there's an interesting thing on both of those whiskeys. Both are now ghost whiskeys. That's right. Cotton Hollow is done. I got one of the very last bottles out there. And Balcones 100 is also done. It's been replaced by the Balcones Bottled in Bond. So that's next time on Stab the Dragon. Until then, be careful when you drink. Don't overdo it. Don't drink and drive. If you're a minor, shouldn't even be watching. Out here.